Ladies and gentle beings and everything in between, thank you for joining me today. Our topic of the moment is the effective use of EQ in audio production, a fundamental skill that can make or break your mix. Sorry, this is a bit loud. It's great. Okay. Equalization or EQ is the process of adjusting the balance between different frequency components in an audio signal. Understanding and mastering EQ can elevate your productions, allowing each element in your mix to shine. Okay, so an introduction to EQ. Let's begin to well, let's understand what EQ is and why it is so crucial. EQ can be visualized as a series of sliders, each representing a different frequency band, and by boosting or cutting these bands, we can shape the sound to our liking. EQ is used to correct imbalances, enhance certain characteristics, and create space for each element in a mix. A few types of EQ is parametric, graphic, and shelving EQs, each with unique features and applications. So, talking about things on a spectrum like myself, the frequency spectrum is an entirely integral part of EQ. So we understand that the frequency spectrum that humans can hear is 20 to 20,000 hertz, and we can divide those into several bands. So let's jump into those different bands of EQ. Excuse me, I had Taco Bell and it does not taste great the second time. All right, EQ. This is a pretty simple EQ plugin that's on Pro Tools that I'm going to be using to demonstrate with today. Get my notes back up here. All right, so several bands of EQ that can be used. This one only really shows 5, but I'm going to tell you about the 7 of them just because. There's sub bass, bass, low mid range, upper mid range, uh, and then high mids and your high frequencies, which those can also be called your presence and brilliance in a more really like professional sense. So let's start with sub bass. Sub bass is 20, the very low end, very back of the bus type EQ to 60 hertz. So 20 to 60 hertz. This range adds a sense of power and depth. You can definitely go overboard with it. It will muddy up your production if you do too much. So let's just see what it does to this kick out when we put it all the way up here. Not really doing much. I don't know. I'm just messing with stuff. The next one is going to be the bass, regular bass, which is from 60 hertz to 250 hertz. This is where your punch and your fullness of your mix resides in instruments like the kick drum and bass guitar. So this one right here looks at 252. No, 60 to 250 hertz. So let's say I wanted to push it up a bit, boost this right here. So we want to get, and the Q, I think within here it's just kind of how narrow or wide you want that specific band to, level out. So you can hear it if it's all the way out there. It picks up a lot of everything that's in that bass range, but we don't want all that. So we just want the kick. Let's boost the gain up. In here, it starts to sound a lot like thicker with the kick. But don't necessarily need that, because this is just a kick out. There's a kick in as well on this particular tracks, this bass drum. So you can get as meticulous as you want with it, but just kind of, for example, showing you where like the bass is at. The next one would be your low mid-range. Which is going to be from 250 hertz to 500 hertz. So typically like right around this little section here, these few. So your low mid-range, often referred to as the mid-range, is crucial. It is crucial to control this area. I can never get through one of these without yawning. I swear, it's ridiculous. It's crucial to control this area to prevent your mix from sounding boxy or cluttered. There's a lot of instruments that do fit within this range. Snares, within the sense of a drum set, like your toms and your snares would fit in here. Maybe not the floor tom. Floor tom would be, well, yeah, low mid-range, that would be floor tom. Floor tom's kind of pushing it in between the bass and low mid-range. But if you have rack toms, those would fit within the low mid-range to the mids. Your snares would probably fit with your mid-range to your upper mid-range to the highs. Cymbals definitely in your upper mid-range and so forth. Higher frequency. These two, for example. But anyway. Let me go ahead and just throw that EQ on this one as well. So that's both of the kicks put together, and it sounds like someone's smacking on a piece of Tupperware. So let's bring a low pass filter in, which sounds confusing. Low pass filter pretty much only allows the lower frequencies to come in. Lower frequencies pass through, the higher ones do not. That took me a while to get that figured out. So let's put that there. And I'm going to do the same for the kick out. Like, I kind of want it to sound like a pretty good thud, but I also want it to sound a bit deeper. Seems to be getting some more punch in there now. Let's try with the kick in. Kick in's where the punch is at. Because I believe the kick in, the microphone's actually sitting inside the bass drum. We can put that one down and let's get this going again. Honestly, I can just completely take out the higher frequencies and the high mids. Let's put this one right at 100. The happy medium there. Alright, how does this sound with everything else? Alright, so I think that sounds pretty decent. It's a bit more punchy, and you can hear it a little bit thicker throughout the rest of the mix, but it's not overbearing as well. Staying in this range, I'm going to throw one on the bass DI and the bass. There's a few of them. There's a few on the bass. Jeez, but yeah, we'll go ahead and mess with them anyway. This is the DI, so there's really nothing else that comes into it. But I'll go ahead and take the highs and mids out anyway. Let's jump on the bass amp. I'm gonna boost this one up. This one, I'm gonna bring that one back a bit. Right at 650. one's at 200. I'm gonna push it up to 250. Push it up some more. Gain the absolute hell out of the low one here. Kind of bring that one down so it brings everything else out. The same here with all of them. It makes it feel take that man out. Makes it feel a bit fuller, which is what I believe you want in a bass. So now we're on the bass amp U47. Boost it. Boost it. Boost it. Boost it. I'm pretty much going to do the same thing that I did for the other amp. Maybe a little bit different. Let's throw all these together. Let's jump from the beginning. I appreciate that. That feels like the rest of the song has something better to kind of ride along to, which is pretty much the whole point of your bass and drum. Those are the rhythm sections. Cool, cool, cool. So now with our mid ranges and higher mids, I'm gonna mess with probably the overheads, the rack toms, and snares. Just do some really quick EQs on them. I'll get back to the floor toms. Oh, and the backtrack, the hi hat as well. EQ everything. EQ the world. So many EQ plugins. So little time. Alright, so we got active DI amp bass to both the bass amps were completed. No, I will go ahead and start with the floor tom. I'll go ahead and make these a bit bigger. There we go. Now I can actually see where I'm getting hits at. That is what we're working with. You know what? All right, so I don't care for that ringing that comes out of it. Let's take the high frequency out of there. Let me put that one back in. So this is what I'm doing. I'm cutting out the mid. And we're going to boost it. All right. Other floor drum. This one I will cut out the bass, and I'm going to boost this low mid, and then this just regular mid, and then I'm going to cut out the high mids and probably cut the high mids. I meant high frequency, just regular high frequency on that one's what I meant. I'll bring this one back a bit too. I'll put you right at 590. Coming in a little bit more there. Throw out some more input. I can cut the output back there. It's starting to. I think those both come out pretty well. What I haven't messed with yet is this rack tom. So what have we got for this one? Doodoo, doodoo. Yeah. that. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but every time it hits a snare drum, it's ringing out through the bottom of this tom, and that's what I'm getting that tinny sound from. So that'll probably be the next thing that I mess with on the snare drum to try and get that out of there, of this rack tom. But overall, the tone, whenever it's actually hit, I think it's pretty good. I think those drum fills are sounding pretty good now. These are the things, tips for effective EQ use, which I should probably follow them better myself, but usually less is more. Um, Avoiding excessive boosting or cutting. Subtle adjustments are usually more effective and maintain the natural sound of the instrument. Um, Use your reference tracks. Compare your mix to professionally produced tracks to identify frequency imbalances. Mixing context. Always EQ instruments in the context of the full mix, not in solo. An instrument might sound great on its own, but could clash with others in the mix. So that's kind of why I've been, after each mix, unsolo it and listen to everything. And me, I like drums. I'm a very drum heavy person, so it's probably why those will sound better in my opinion than anything else that is going on in this song or in this track. And trust your ears. Tools and meters are helpful, and if you know your numbers for like where a lot of your instruments tonal ranges are, and you can adjust to them, even if you have, bad hearing, you can still do a good EQ if you know your numbers. um, but other than that, your ears are your ultimate tool, ultimate judge. Train them to recognize frequency ranges and their effects. And ear safety, earplugs, do it. um, Mistakes to avoid for EQing: overdoing it. Probably what I'm doing for a sense here, but I just like messing around and uh, doing it so much where you can't hear a difference. This isn't like a real song that I'm trying to put out or anything. This is free multi tracks from Telefunken website. They're a good source. Uh, yeah, so don't overuse your EQ. Can strip its natural character of instruments and lead to I don't know why my notes pick this word as sterile mix. Aim for minimal adjustments. Um, do not ignore your fundamentals of, you know, pretty much everything else. Focusing too much on high frequencies and neglecting the low and mid range can result in a thin mix. Balance is key. Um, yeah, be good in using your high and low pass filters. Pretty essential. for taking out unnecessary noise. A lot of the time from how your high pass filters are better, taking out the rumbles from your bass instruments and non bass instruments and clearing up the mix. I'm probably gonna cut that for today with EQing and stuff like that. Y'all kind of get the idea. EQ, it's very necessary. Fun stuff.